In this video, we're going to be talking about order of code and how to layer shapes on top of each other by making a rainbow. So we're going to start with an ellipse, and we want the middle of it to be at the center of our canvas, which is 6, 5. The next thing that I want to do is make it 8 wide and 8 tall because I'm going to use 8 different colors inside of my rainbow. So there we go. I like the way that looks. So I'm going to put in a fill command for red. We're going to start with the biggest shape and then go down to the smaller shapes because whatever happens first on the canvas will show up first. So if we put the smaller ones after, they wouldn't show up. They would be hidden underneath the larger one. So I'm going to make another ellipse that's orange at the same center, so 6, 5, and I'm going to make it 7 by 7 instead of 8 by 8. This is a really good one to practice some copying and pasting. You just have to change the fill command to the color you want, and then you just have to change the size of the ellipse. They're all going to be at the same center of 6, 5. You just have to change the size. And you'll see that on line 8, I did just 1 6 instead of doing 6, 6. If you want your ellipse to be the same width and height, you don't have to write it twice. You can just write it once, and the computer will recognize that as your ellipse being that wide and that tall. So I'm going to keep going with this, adding in my other shapes. And as you can see, I'm just making them smaller every time. So instead of writing all of this out, I could have just copied and pasted, making sure that I'm making it one smaller each time and just changing the fill to the color that I want it to be. So I can just highlight it, copy it, paste it down below. I'll just change the size. Instead of 3 wide and 3 tall, I want it to be 2 wide and 2 tall. And then I just need to change the color command. And I'm just using color commands that I had written down, but you can use the color picker for this. You don't have to use the same colors as me. And so the next thing that we want to do is add a background into our sketch. So we're going to put a background in. I'm going to choose a blue color. I want it to be like the color of the sky. We're going to copy that, paste it in, and you'll see that it covers up everything that I did. That's because, like I said earlier, whatever happens first on the canvas shows up first. Whatever happens last shows up on top of everything else. So my background right now is on top of everything that we just worked so hard on. So I'm going to move it up to the very first line, and there we go. Now I'm going to make one more circle, same center, and make it 1 by 1. And I want this to be the same color as our background. And the reason that I'm doing that is because I want it to look like the arch of a rainbow. I don't want it to look like just a bunch of circles. So I'm going to do the same center and make it 1 by 1. There we go. And now I'm just going to make it look like an actual rainbow instead of a big circle. So I'm going to cut it in half using a rectangle. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a rectangle the same color as the background, put it at 1, 5, which is right towards the left side but the middle of the circle, and I'm going to make it 10 by 10. I'm going to add in the line no stroke right at the beginning to get rid of the outlines on all of our shapes. So now it actually looks like the rainbow's cut in half instead of having those lines on the outside of our rectangle. So the next thing I'm going to do is just add in some clouds at the bottom. You can make your clouds look a little bit maybe fluffier than mine. You can add a pot of gold at the end of your rainbow. You could add maybe like a beautiful landscape right underneath it. There's a lot of different things that you can add in here to make this look more polished and a little bit nicer. So I'm just going to use 2 ellipses. I'm going to use one on the left side where the center's at 3.5 because I want it to be right in between 3 and 4. And then it's Y is at 5 and it's 4 wide and 4 tall. I'm going to do the same thing for the right side with the center at 8.5, 5, and then have it 4 wide and 1 tall. So this is my rainbow. I want to see your own unique versions of it, so try to add fun things to it.